All right, we're going to be writing expressions using exponents. So it's pretty easy because remember, when you're doing exponents, you're using multiplication of a number to itself over and over. So this just becomes 6 to the 4th power. This just becomes p to the 1st. We never write p to the 1st because remember, 1 is that number that we only bring out and use when we need it. Okay, this is super important. There's a difference. It's the quantity of -1 to the 3rd power. Do not write this. This is incorrect. If it has parentheses around it, then you need to keep them around it. So remember, if I had this like that, I would have to say -1 to the 2nd power because this equals 1. This equals 1. If I had this, is completely different because this is saying I want you to square the number 1 and then tack on the negative, okay? So this would be -1 as my answer. So see, there's a difference. When it's an odd exponent, you don't really notice a difference because remember, every 2 negatives make a positive, so your answer to this one would be -1, and this one would be 1 to the 3rd power is 1, and then bring the negative over. So you see, you get the same answer for that. But when the exponent is even, you don't get the same answer. So it's a big deal, and it makes a huge difference. So if I had -1 to the 4th power, every 2 negatives make a positive. So I have 2 sets of negatives, so my answer would be 1. But if I had -1 to the 4th power, notice the difference, the quantity of -1 to the 4th power versus -1 to the 4th power. Here, I'm putting everything to the 4th power. That means I have 4 negatives that are being multiplied, and I have 4 ones being multiplied. Every 2 negatives make a positive, ends up being 1. This one is saying I have a negative and then I have 4 ones. That ends up equaling a -1. So it really makes a difference when the parentheses are on, so make sure you keep them on. Okay, parentheses on. So the quantity of 5x plus 1 squared. So right here. 1/2 x to the 4th, y cubed. Right here. First one, pause it right here and try to do these on your own. And I'll show you the answers. Hopefully you got it right. It's pretty easy. Let me go back for a second. There's a problem that's going to come up on your homework. It looks like this. A times A times A times A times A. And it's going to say, put this in exponential form. It's just A to the 5th power. Don't make it A to the 3rd times A squared. It's just A to the 5th. Just count the A's. They're just trying to, show you a different way to represent A to the 5th by grouping. But don't let those parentheses throw you off on that. Okay, so we're going to express this in expanded form. I'm going to show you the long, and then I'm going to show you the easy short way. So first of all, the long way is to remember that this is 200,000 plus 30,000 plus 5,000 plus 0 plus 10 plus 6. That's breaking this number apart. Then that's the same thing as saying 2 times 100,000 plus 3 times 10,000 plus 5 times 1,000 and so forth, okay? Then they want you to express this as powers of 10. So this would be 2 times 10 to the 5th, because that gives you the number of zeros. 3 times 10 to the 4th, because 10 to the 4th is 10,000, and so on. I'm going to show you how to do that easy. So watch this. start right here and start with 0. So go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That tells you what the exponent that the 10 will be to. So it'll be 2 times 10, to the 5th. Make sure that 5 is next to the 10, plus 3 times 10 to the 4th, plus 5 times 10 cubed, plus, you don't really need to do this one, 0 times 10 squared, which we know is 0, plus 1 times 10 to the 1st, you don't need to write that, plus 6 times 10 to the 0. I didn't have to do all that other work if I can remember. Start from the ones place and go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the exponents that go with the 10. Also, let's just make sure when you're doing exponents, you do understand anything to the 0 power is 1, right? So if I had 2 to the 0, 2 squared, no, that's 2 to the 1st, sorry, 2 squared, 2 cubed, like that. This is 8, this is 4, this is 2. If you look at the pattern for each one of these, you're multiplying it by a half to go backwards. You're multiplying it by a half. And if I said to you, take half of 2, you would say 1. So it's based on a pattern. So always remember anything to the 0 power is 1. So we don't want to do that long way. So here you go. Try to do this one. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 times 10 to the 4th plus 4 times 10 cubed plus 7 times 10 squared plus 0 times 10 plus 6 times 10 to the 0. There it is. Evaluate means do the problem. And it's not 4 times 2. It's 4 times 4. 16. Make sure you take the package, the whole package. And when you carry that package over, you need to put it in a parenthesis bag. So you're going to do the quantity of -2 cubed, not just -2 cubed, because remember we talked about that. I can't believe I just put an equal sign there. So write like this. This is -2 times -2 times -2, which is -8 minus 3 or plus -3 is -11. So that's evaluating. This becomes 2 times -2 plus 2 squared. 5 seconds to solve it. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hopefully you said 0. Because right here, you should have seen this is additive inverses, and additive inverses make it 0. And any multiplication with 0, 0 property is 0. 3 to the 4th. And remember, I'm highly recommending that you kind of get to know your exponents. I would know at least up to 2 to the 5th power. I would know at least up to 3 to the 4th power, and at least up to 5 cubed. If you have those in your brain memorized, this stuff is a lot easier, okay? So this one's 84, and the answer to this one is -24. Good luck.